never retreat. We will never surrender. Mexicans, tonight we dine in San Diego.
I never intended to get into acting at all, or playwriting or anything like that. It was kind of done out of necessity. I'd spent several years after UT writing and just trying to self-teach how to write material that was comedic but also cultural, because I've been writing all my life. And eventually I realized that nobody was going to help me put these things into the world, you know? And through different circumstances, I basically ended up just deciding I was gonna do a one-man show, which was very brave and very foolish. So that's how it started. It was basically just out of necessity, because like there was no infrastructure there to put the kind of work that I wanted to see in the world. So I made myself the vehicle for that. And from that led to beginning the Latino Comedy Project. The Latino Comedy Project was actually inspiration from a woman who was a mentor of ours named Maria Rocha, who had the idea that, you know, looking around at the void that there was, that it would be really cool to have a comedy troupe that featured Latino performers who performed their own material, which was pretty radical, you know, at the time. I mean, it didn't exist in Austin. By giving to the LCP fund, you'll be helping people. Like little Nick here. Nick, well, we need to pay for what may very well be a life-saving operation for Nick. An Anglo to Chicano racial identity transplant. Oye, vato! Los chavalitos in la clica are gonna get loco at the biblioteca. I looked at the absence of Latino voices as a reason to do what I was doing. And then also you get the benefit of you're providing something that's very special and unique and rare to the audiences that come to support what you're doing, and that's a huge reward. By doing what you're doing, and if you're doing it well and you're doing it successfully, other people can say, oh, that's possible. I look at a lot of like racism and a lot of these isms, sexism, homophobia, whatever the thing is today. I look at all that as just a sense of laziness. Psychological and social laziness, because it's really just the groups of people leaning back on this thing in order to feel superior, in order to preserve unearned privileges. The cool thing though is that if you turn it into comedy, you make it something that everybody can partake in.
Hello, I'm a BC.
Y I'm un Mex.
Why the hell are you dressed that way?
Hombre, I won la lotería, and I'm an Americano muy chingón, just like you.
But you look ridiculous. You don't even match. And I already told you, I'm a BC.
And I'm un Mex.
And I'm with Homeland Security, and I can't tell the difference.
What? But surely you're kidding. I mean, it's so obvious. Look, man. He's the one you should deport, not me. Tell him, Max.
I've never seen this man before in my life.
All right, you're both coming down to the processing. We'll let them sort it out.
It's okay. I'll be back next week.
You know, we got back together to do the Out of Bounds show last September of last year, and we put this show together not thinking beyond that, just like, let's make that show as great as we can. It's only gonna be one night. Let's make sure that it feels like a second, third weekend show, you know, like that was the goal. Like, let's make sure it feels like we've done it a million times. So we over-prepared in a good way. The whole best case scenario I could have hoped for that event came true. So again, we were in a position where it's like, we need to fill a void of a voice that's not being heard. And not just a voice of the Latino community that's being affected by gentrification, but the city culture as a whole. But like I tell people, it's like we signed up for one tour and the audience drafted us into the war, basically, you know, because this is a different country now than it was when we were putting the show together last summer. I told the group about the show from when we were writing it. I said, the goal of this show needs to be, first and foremost, that people walk out of it, they're reminded of the fact that this issue is about real human lives. It's not about real estate, it's not about just property taxes, it's not about demographics or statistics. It ultimately is affecting real people's lives. One of the shows we did a sketch about the Jumpolin Piñata shop incident, you know, and the daughter of that family was at the show one time, and they were cheering that sketch. You know, it's a long story, but basically it takes place at the Blue Cat Cafe, and it's the cats. It's about the cats.
Today it's a fresh pile of rubble bearing a family's dreams, pero years from now, it'll be the Blue Cat Cafe is a quirky institution of revitalized East Austin. Because you see, they bury the truth too. So we forget. If we forget, they win. And we can't let them win. Not here, not meow, not ever.
It's really gratifying to do a comedy show that gets laughs from beginning to end, and then you still have people after the show tell you, you know, that parts of that show made me want to cry. I can only speak for myself what it's like for us to work together, but I know there's a great sense of family. There's a great sense of familiarity with each other. And, but you know, I think the thing that keeps us all coming back is that we all make each other laugh. We've been through a lot together. We've been through a lot of different creative, you know, times and shows and producing and creating stuff. But I think coming back to it after a few years, like what we did with this show, and seeing the response from the audience, and also being part of the process again, coming at it fresh, and then looking at each other, it's almost like a second chance to appreciate something. And I think we all look around each other and go like, how lucky we are that we're still able to work together, and that we're doing the best work we've ever done. You know, we've had these great experiences where we've had standing ovations, we've had sold out shows, but in the end, it's about what your day-to-day life is, the quality of your day-to-day life. Are you enjoying this? Is this adding something to your life? So that's why I told them before the show, it's like, forget about, you know, any audience expectations, forget about any of that. Just remember to go on stage and enjoy ourselves. If we're enjoying ourselves, they'll enjoy themselves. And if nothing else, we'll be able to take away a good memory from this, you know? We didn't have a future imagined past the show at Out of Bounds, really. I mean, we were just like trying to make that show the best we could. If there was no interest in supporting what we do, we wouldn't still be doing it now, a year later. The cool thing is that even now, it's really just all driven by being true to the original mission, which is being a voice for people whose voices we don't hear often enough.